Okay, third year. I have prepared this little lecturette for you after the time we spent together the last week and some of the questions you've given me, and I've just been mulling over it. And I thought I'd just give you this little talk, which I've entitled "Architect's Finishing School." Um, as an architect, we uh, we are leaders in society. Up there with um, religious leaders, with politicians. Us as the professional team, made up of doctors, lawyers, accountants, engineers, and architects. Those five professional, we are seen as leaders in society, and people will look up to us, and um, and therefore we should behave and act in a way commensurate with that standing. I like to say to people, well, the professionals of today were the knights of old, or the samurai, um, male and female samurai. The samurai followed a code called Bushido. Um, the knights, might for right. Uh, Zulu warriors as well. Uh, I think it was in one of the Spider-Man movies that saying went, with great power comes great responsibility. And what I want to get across to you guys is, as architects in the world, we should behave with responsibility and in a certain manner. I'm talking about breeding, moral fiber, classiness, integrity. Um, not I've said classiness, not class. I don't like to say upper class and lower class, but I'll give you an example. A friend of mine's parents looked after a friend of his for a few days. He was an airline pilot, so he was already quite a qualified and somebody that society looked up to. But he stayed there for a week. He didn't help. He didn't help with dishes. He didn't help with cooking or if to buy anything. And I remember the father grumbling afterwards that this guy had no breeding. He had no moral fiber, no classiness. We are supposed to act in a certain way. Um, and it's also not got to do with money. People can act integrity, whatever their financial income. Um, what was that book that we had at high school there that I can't remember, but it was talking about the niveau riche, and the niveau riche is a term for people that have money but no class. They haven't had any breeding, and so how do we get that? Is it blood over water? Is it? Are you born with it, or are you taught it? And I believe we can we can teach it. We can look at it and look at ourselves and say, how should I behave? Um, so what are we looking at? We're looking at maybe appearance, uh, genuine interest and care for others before yourself, um, respect, self-respect, integrity, those sorts of things. Um, okay, dress, guys. I mean, dress has become far more relaxed in the last couple of decades. I think what's his name? Richard Branson was one of the leader for that. But guys, I think we should still dress appropriately, um, still dress with a bit of class. You know, there were some questions from the class about tattoos. No, I don't really have anything against tattoos if it's done tastefully and maybe somewhere that not many people are going to see it. But there's the joke that we don't see stickers on a Ferrari, and remember that you people will be spending a lot of money and trusting a lot of their money to you as an architect, 50 million rand project, and you looking after their interests. Um, you know, having tattoos all over everywhere and studs and piercings all over the place, I think might not necessarily give across the right sort of vibe. Um, Somebody once, I was never fortunate enough to meet Nelson Mandela, but somebody once said that when they met him, it was as if you and him were the only people in the room. He gave his full attention to you, and and he's not answering his cell phone, he's not checking, he's not thinking about other things, and that's something I challenge myself with when I speak to people. There's so many distractions nowadays. When we chat and discuss with somebody, especially somebody who's looking up to us, give them your attention, focus on them, and respect them. Doesn't matter what strata they're in. Um, I don't know how many of you guys know the names of the cleaners in the studio, for example. Um, Something else that's a biggie for me. Um, I believe that true love is a sacrificial love. The Greeks have a word for it, agape love, and that means sacrificing of yourself for others. And that could be in many different ways. In marriage, I often think I use the example that you should wash the dishes half the time, and your partner washes half the time. Um, but if you've washed the dishes 4 times this week, and you're going to do it again, that's it's not fair. It's unfair, but you're doing it out of love. And littering is something where it's a laziness thing. We can put it away, or we can throw it out the window, and and um and it's kind of the opposite of love because somebody else has to come and pick up after you and do stuff for you. They are sacrificing for you, and picking up litter is a loving act, an act of love. Just simple examples of that. So guys, I know they say the body moans against service and screams against hidden service. So we all the same. We all don't like doing it. But if you could do service to humanity that people don't see, that shows character. Um, in nature, guys, leave only the footprints behind. Leave nothing else, so that when other people come along, they can enjoy pristine nature, just like we have. Um, Integrity, yeah, integrity is doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. I heard a story of a guy who preached on integrity, and afterwards, and these were the old days when you had phones where you put money in. He put money in, and the money came out again. And there was a lady at exchange, and he actually spoke to her. He said, "The money's come out again." And he said, "Yeah, I listened to your sermon. I was just checking to see whether if I returned your money, you would try and hide it and keep the money, or whether you would pay it." So sometimes when you don't think people are watching, they are. And we need to be able to make the correct decisions, whether we think anybody's watching or not, and keep our promises, whether they hurt or not. Promises are made because they may hurt when we keep them. Yeah. Um, Respect. Um, Respect other people, learn their cultures, learn their ways, um, and behave appropriately. You going out of your way to, you're making an effort on your part for them. You're showing them respect. Um, get to know people's names. Um, get to know their cultural bias. I think in the Zulu community, when you speak to an older, you don't look them in the face, you look down. If you speak to somebody in the West, you look them in the eye when you shake their hands. It's a different culture, but learn it. and practice it. I know it's hard to do. Um, and yeah, be kind. Be kind to others. Be kind to animals. Um, going back to respect, self-respect. Um, we should be submissive and we should be giving and we should be kind. But when people demand it of us, when they start bossing us around and disrespecting us and using us as a doormat, then we need to defend our line of self-respect. Um, a good example, a fantastic example, was when we as lecturers were late the one day, and your class rep Bonke stood up and said, "What you guys did was wrong. You know, you've disrespected us. You've been here since 9 o'clock, and you've only come now." And he was 100% within his rights to defend your respect as the class. And that's a good example of defending your own line of self-respect. Yeah, and um, and that's really what I wanted to say. You guys need to look into yourselves and decide how you're going to be act, how you're going to behave. You know, do you switch the music off at 10 o'clock because you know you're disturbing the neighbors? You want to play longer, but you are sacrificing of yourself for others. Um, be comfortable with who you are, and yeah, but act that way. You know, when you walk around, have a relaxed confidence in who you are. Um, as architects, not only are we intellectual, but we also have worked hard and we um, have a right to be confident and relaxed in who we are. Be yourself. Be live in your own skin, I think they say. um, so I'm going to just leave that with you, and I want you to mull over that as you go out into the rest of your life. Um, all the best. I hope this was of some value.